Hey guys, welcome to Tech Guy Productions. I have a plane here I've been waiting for a very long time. They came out about a year ago, and ever since I saw it, I wanted one. I ordered this thing September 28th, and I just now got it today. Today is October 16th, so I've waited a while. The problem is, this came from Fair RC, and this is not their fault. The UPS hub in Detroit had on the first plane, and I've had them stuff from me before, but how you walk out of a UPS hub with a giant plane under your arm and get away with it, I don't know. But they sent me another one like right away, no questions asked. They really stood up and did the right thing, and I greatly appreciate that. Again, that was Fair RC. So, you know, if you can buy something from them, because they're stand-up guys, and I'm sure they won't let you down. So anyway, we're going to do the unbox on this, but before we do, I want to announce a giveaway. If I get 25 comments on this video, I'll pick a random comment and send those two 80 to 90 millimeter tail flame lights from Motion RC to whoever the winner is. They're made by Free Wing. So anyway, give a comment, subscribe, like this video, and I'll pick a winner after I get 25 comments. All right, so let's get down to what's in the box. Some of you probably already know, just based on my comments about Fair RC. This plane was released, like I said, just over a year ago. You've probably seen the thumbnail already. As you can see, it's an 80 millimeter Futura. And there's one back here. I flew that for the last year. And what a great flying plane. I've got lights on my channel. I clocked it doing 126 miles an hour. Which is quite fast. As you can see, this one is the green one, has the green mod from Fair RC. The only place that you can get the green ones from. It's got LEDs. The V2, which I have right here, does not. As I said, I've flown this plane for about a year, and it's just been beat up pretty bad. It started flying poorly, especially with, I think maybe the caved-in canopy didn't help things. But I've crashed this thing so many times. I've ripped the landing gear right out of it and glued them right back in, and they were fine. This thing's so durable and rugged. This thing is cartwheeled down the runway, and the wings aren't even crinkled or anything. What a great plane. This plane will high alpha. It's insanely aerobatic and crazy fast. That green's really gonna pop, you know. I don't get anything for trying to promote Fair RC at all. It's just they did me right, and a company that stands behind their product and helps their customers, you know, they get my business. Ball links. There's your reflex. And the control panel in the back, sequencer for landing gear and stuff. 80mm EDF. Now I'm sure there's people out there that like the reflex, but I'm not one of them people, so my reflex is going to come out, and I'm just going to hardwire everything to my Spectrum receiver. I'm going to use an AR637TA that I have laying around. This came out of my 80mm F16 from E-Flight. I put in a different receiver in that one, and then I'm going to put a remote receiver in it. My IX14, for some reason, I keep losing signals with it. There's the nutsack, ball links, and the screws for the wings and stabilizers. And the programming cord, I imagine, for the reflex. I've got a million of these. The wingspan on this plane is 1,060 millimeters. Overall length is 1,170 millimeters. The flying weight is 250 grams.
2,500 grams is equal to 5.512 pounds.
It's got a 3665 kV 2000 motor size. It's got 100 amp ESC. The recommended battery is a 6S4000 35C. It's got 813 gram digital all metal servos. Like I said, the landing gear is extremely rugged. The CG is 100 to 105 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing. And you check the CG with the airplane inverted. All of the screws are the same size, which is really nice. They say for your first flight, set your timer for 4 minutes. And they call that a conservative estimate. I set mine at 3.5 and then go from there just to be safe. Okay, now it's time to put it together. Here we go. 'That's a tight fit right there. Oh my god. Okay, looks good. Two minutes down. I should be done by now. Should have had all this stuff laid out. Four minutes. Enough of this done. Usually I forget this part. Quick connectors on the wings, which are nice. Again, this plane has LEDs, flaps, incredibly rugged landing gear. I know firsthand about that. There is one issue with this plane. The front nose gear gets stuck on the door quite often. I'm going to check that out and see if that's the case for this particular plane. If it does, I'm either going to find a solution for it or I'll just take the door off. Not having a gear door on the nose wheel isn't going to bother me in the slightest. My glue one over there don't have a nose gear. Due to several crashes, I ripped it off. So. Six minutes, 30 seconds. They give me an extra screw, which is nice. Wasting time verifying all the ball links are the same length, and they are. And they want you to use the furthest out hole. Unfortunately, the control rods don't fit into the control horns, which is fairly common. So instead of forcing them in there, I take a hand drill and I try to open them up a little bit. And like I said, they want you to use the last hole. So I'm going to open that up just a little bit. That ought to be enough to get that control rod in there nice and easy. You know, it's still snug, but it's in there nice. They want the control rods again to be on the outermost hole on the control horns. Okay. That right there was my fault. I might have just pulled that screw out a little bit. Yeah. So I can just tighten this right back and it should be fine. You should always check these things anyway, just in case you pull them out, like I just did, or if they didn't get screwed all the way in when it was manufactured and built. In my case, I got a little carried away and screwed it up. Yeah. All right, there we go. So again, I'll open up the last hole just a little bit to make sure my control horn fits good, or control rod, and that's it. Now when I energize the plane, all the servos will center and I can adjust them to suit. The reflex is coming out. Got a million of those things laying around. Okay. So, took the receiver up. Throttle goes in port 1. Aileron goes in port 2. Elevator goes in port 3. Rudder goes in port 4. Gear goes in port 5. And the flaps go in port 6. Hot glued them receivers in, so lesson learned on my end to always glue in the hot glue in the receivers. So there it is after the canopy alteration. 6S 4000 right where it balances on the CG. And that's the cover, the canopy alteration there. Just cut out that piece of foam. The hardest part is just being careful not to cut through the canopy plastic here. So just go slow, take it easy, use a sharp blade if you have it. Done. Alright, so I cheat a little bit when I do my radio setup. I created one EDF, my F4 Phantom I set up. It's got flaps, retracts, all the control surfaces that this Futura has. So I say add a model, and I choose template, and I choose my F4 Phantom. So it makes it super simple, and I highly recommend that you guys do the same. It's easy to make a plane a template. You go into the same model, and you can you go into a model that's set up correctly, and you can easily make it a template. Now, when I set up a plane with plus, AS3X plus, I just put a plus by it right now so I know which receivers are currently updated to the AS3X plus and which ones aren't. Okay, let's make sure that's right. Yep. Okay, let's find, we're not going to find a photo that looks right, so at one of these days I'm going to upload a video showing how to import photos of planes other than the E-flite ones that are in here. Ooh, that one's pretty close. We'll just pick this one. That's got to be some kind of Viper. If anybody knows what plane that is, leave it in the comments. Okay. So now I'm ready to bind the airplane. So I plug in the battery. And I hit the bind button on the receiver until the orange light starts to flash. Then I go in here and I hit bind. Bind it. Oops, gotta hold it for a second.
Binding. Bind complete. DFMX 22 milliseconds. Telemetry.
All right. So I check all my control surfaces and make sure they're all moving in the correct directions, and amazingly, they are.
Flaps up. Flaps full.
Except for my flaps, which I could change this around. But what I think I'm going to do is just reverse my servo.
Flaps up.
And now they're fine. So let's throw the gear.
Gear up. Gear down.
Okay, that's backwards.
Gear up.
There we go. Right, left, up, down, right, left. Okay, should be good to go. Now go to forward programming. I'm going to do a factory reset on this receiver because it came out of my F16 80mm from E-flite. Alright, so now I can go in here and do first time setup. I'm going to check the control surfaces one more time just to make sure they're still all in the correct directions, and they are. I'm going to set the orientation of the receiver manually. That's what I prefer to do. I'm going to change my gain channel to aux 4, and it's already set to the right now, which is great. I'm going to apply that. Okay, connect. I'm going to set up safe because sometimes it, you know, it helps to get a plane back in. Nothing wrong with flying in safe now and then. I do. Auxiliary 2, Switch A. Next. Continue. Next. 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 We're going to put this into self-leveling. Change that to 80. Set that to 80. 75 and 75. Okay.
Enhanced. High alpha.
Apply. Okay. Back out of that. So I have a mix set up for throttle-based gains, and I did a video on how to do that. So you can see aux4 is my control knob for my AS3X, and you can see it is working.
1 minute.
So at low throttle, I have the most gains, and then at high throttle, it cuts the gains way back so I don't get oscillation at high speed.
Timer reset.
I reset my timer here. Let's see what my timer's set at. 3.5 minutes. That's good for a first flight for this plane. So I'll take it out, run it 3.5 minutes, check the battery, and see if I can bump the time up a little more. I usually set it to the smallest battery. That way, if I put like a 6S5000 in there, I know I can run it over my timer a little bit and not have to worry about it running out of juice. Okay, so let's go back into forward programming. I know I didn't set up my AS3X fully yet, so let's go in here and talk about this a little bit. I always bump my gains up. I've been bumping them up 30%, but I'm gonna just bump them up 20%. I think 30 is a little too much. What was that one at? When it's windy, I've had issues.
Enhanced.
Make sure you do this for all flight modes. And I don't recommend setting your gains as high off the bat. You know, I would recommend starting with the default settings and then adjusting as you see fit. I know from flying so many EDFs that these are the settings that I like. They may not work for you. Now, I kicked this down to 100, but I'm not sure that's enough. So I'm going to experiment with that going forward.
Enhanced.
You know, it's all just a matter of how the plane feels to you. So, you know, play around with this. And again, I don't recommend such a big change in value, right? I'm going from 160 to 100. You know, I know from doing this so many times that I can start it at this point, but I don't recommend you do it. You know, maybe kick it down 20, kick it down 20, kick it down 20. Keep moving it until you get a good feel for the way you want to fly your plane.
High alpha.
And then set it at that value. Okay? So again, everything's adjustable, which is great. Let's look at the gains. They're adjustable, everything's great. You gotta check all your flight mode. You gotta check all your flight modes to make sure it's working properly. Okay.
High alpha.
And that's it. That's my radio setup. Having that template set up and ready to go makes radio setup super simple. You know, I don't have to go through setting up the throttle-based gains. You know, everything's where I want it to be. I believe it even captures my dual rates in Expo. You know, again, you know, this is a preference. I'm not going to tell you where to start. You know, you're going to have to figure what you like, what your gains you like to fly with and things like that. I don't want to tell you where to go because what works for me may not work for you, and I don't want to be responsible for you crashing a plane. Let's check the throttle cut. Good.
Throttle on.
Whoa.
Throttle off.
All right, so we're good there.
Timer reset.
Okay, let's take a look at it. So, I forgot to bind the remote receiver, and I just went to do it, and my remote receiver does not function. So, I had another one, and that one's fine. So, when this is binded, you hit the bind button, bind remote receiver to your receiver, and you're all good to go. So now I have to rerun this wire and stow everything out of the way. I just returned some receivers to Spectrum, and I'm going to have to return this one as well. I think I'm going to test it one more time on something else and see if it functions. But the receivers I just returned, they told me it takes 25 days for them to process the return, and then another 10 days to send you your money back. So 35 days. So I've got this satellite receiver, which is $33, that I have to, I think it's like $33 or $40, something that's cheap. It's not really even worth it to send it back and wait 40 days for maybe $30. I mean, I'll probably do it, but you know, it's probably gonna cost me at least, you know, $5-6 probably just to send it back. I'm telling you, it's a pain in the butt. Spectrum doesn't send you confirmation that they received your return. I don't know if you've ever returned anything to Spectrum or not, but it's absolutely horrible. You have no idea if they got it, if they're processing it, when they might send the money. I mean, you gotta wait a couple months and hope you get the money, and then if you don't, you gotta call them up and hope they found the refund and received it, and you know, forget all that. I'm probably gonna send it back, but seriously, it's almost not worth my time. It's such a hassle. All right, guys, so this is the final setup here. There's the receiver and the satellite receiver. Now I put a 6S4000 60C in here, and I marked where it CGs. I like to fly my EDFs with the CG a little bit further back, so this is probably how I would fly it in this configuration. Now I will probably also fly this on a 6S5000, so I'll do a CG mark for 6S5000. I don't recommend you guys do that. You know, I don't want to be, again, responsible for someone crashing a plane. So this is what it looks like. LED's really nice. I don't know what they'll look like in the daytime. You got a light on the bottom. You know, for the price point, you know, what do you expect, right? You know, it'd be nice to have some landing lights and things like that. Maybe a light on top of the vertical stab back there, but for under $400, what do you expect? This is 126 mile an hour EDF, and it flies like a dream, like it's on rails, and it does some pretty good aerobatics. The snap rolls on this thing are amazing. And I hear it does high alpha. I haven't done a high alpha with mine, but I'll have some flights on this shortly, and I'll put it through spaces and show you guys what it does. So here's the underside. This gear door is kind of flimsy and it gets caught up on the nose gear. We're going to look at that as we fly the plane and see what we can do about it. If anything, if we can't do anything about it, it's going to come off. It wasn't an issue on my V2 because I crashed it and ripped the gear, the front nose gear door off, so I never flew with it on, so it wasn't a problem for me.
Flaps full. Flaps up.
Okay, so here's the gear retract.
Gear up. Gear down.
Like I said before, this gear is quite robust. I've had some really hard landings, ripped it out of the plane before. It's kind of cool, it's got the red on the inside of the gear doors from when the plane was painted red. It's kind of neat. So don't forget to comment on this video and win these two free wing taillights for 80 to 90 millimeter EDFs from Free Wing. If I get 25 comments on this video, I will pick someone at random and send these out to them. If you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Check out.